For centuries, law has been a conversation between humans, all about justice. But today, there's a new voice joining that conversation, and it's not human at all. We are diving headfirst into an age where the rules that actually govern our lives are being written by algorithms. So let's explore this massive collision between our classic idea of law and the new world order that's being written by AI. And this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If law is supposed to be this very human thing, a conversation about fairness and justice, what on earth happens when we hand the gavel over to a machine that literally just thinks in ones and zeros? That's the challenge we're unpacking today. All right, so to really get a handle on where we're going, we've got to first understand where we came from. So let's start with the classical foundation, the very reason law was created in the first place. It was made for people, not for programs. Okay, now what's so interesting about this is how it completely flips a common idea on its head. We usually think of law as something that restricts our freedom, right? But classical philosophy, it says the exact opposite is true. Without law, we don't get freedom, we get chaos, arbitrariness. I mean, just imagine a city with zero traffic rules. Sure, you're free to drive wherever you want, but so is everyone else. You're basically a slave to their complete unpredictability. Law creates the structure that makes real freedom even possible. And this brings us right to the core goal of law. Autonomy. The word itself is amazing. It literally means self-law. It's our capacity as human beings to make rational, free choices. The entire purpose of the legal system, from this classical point of view, is to protect and enable this really fundamental human ability. You see, the law is built on a very specific idea of what a person is. It assumes we have reason, to tell right from wrong. It assumes we have will to choose what we do. And it assumes we have imputability, which is just a fancy way of saying we can be held responsible for our choices. A machine, of course, has none of these. An algorithm doesn't have a conscience, it doesn't have a will, and that's a huge problem we're going to come back to. So here's the crucial point. What's the real difference between a tax collector and a robber? I mean, they both take your money. The difference is morality. The law is supposed to serve a just common good. Without that moral core, that internal compass of justice, a law isn't really a law. It's just force with a fancy uniform. And this is where our story takes a really sharp turn. This carefully built, very human system is now facing what some are calling a great transformation. A brand new force, the machine, has entered the scene, and it's challenging everything we've just talked about. And this slide just lays out the fundamental conflict perfectly. The logic of law, it's all about these big, abstract ideas, justice, reason, dignity. But the logic of the machine? It's about one thing and one thing only, efficiency. It doesn't get meaning, it only understands data and probabilities. And in its world, a human isn't a person with a soul, they're just a collection of data points. These two ways of thinking are on a collision course. So what actually happens when this super efficient, data-driven logic starts to take the wheel? Well, this is where we see the old systems start to crack, and a whole new kind of order starts to take its place. Welcome to the age of code as law. Just think about it for a second. When you're on a social media platform, your behavior is being regulated, instantly, by an algorithm. There's no judge, there's no trial, no appeal process. The code just runs its rules. It's acting exactly like a law, but it's operating completely outside of our traditional legal system. And that creates a very, very different kind of order. Traditional law is public. We can debate it, we can protest it, we can work to change it. Algorithmic law, though, it's often a secret, a proprietary black box. We have no idea how it works, yet it controls us instantly and with perfect cold efficiency. This is the real danger. When the rules are secret and the judgment is automatic, what you're left with is what's been called a system of pure, unexamined instrumental power. It's power without any accountability. And that is a direct threat to a free society. This gets right to the heart of the matter. Programmers are, of course, trying to create fair AI, but can something like justice truly be boiled down to a formula? A human judge can show mercy. They can understand context. Did someone steal a loaf of bread out of greed, or were they trying to feed a starving family? An algorithm only knows the data. It can be incredibly precise, but can it ever be wise? So this transformation isn't just about some abstract legal system out there. It's about us. The deepest crisis here is an anthropological one. It's changing what it even means to be human in the eyes of this new power. We are now living under constant algorithmic supervision. Our phones track our location, our searches are monitored, our social feeds are curated just for us. This creates what's called an illusion of choice. We feel like we're freely choosing what to watch or what to read, but behind the scenes, an AI has already predicted what we'll like and has narrowed our options. Are those decisions we're making truly our own? And this leads to this fundamental shift in how we're seen. Classical philosophy sees you as a person with inherent dignity. The algorithmic view, on the other hand, sees you as a data subject, and you're only valuable for the information you generate. We run the risk of being reduced from being ends in ourselves to being just cogs in a machine. So what happens when this system gets it wrong? If an AI doctor misdiagnoses a patient and that patient gets hurt, who's guilty? Is it the doctor who trusted the AI, the programmer who wrote the code, the machine itself? This is the responsibility gap. We have an action without a clear author, and our entire legal system is built on finding one. Okay, so that sounds pretty dire, I know, but this future isn't set in stone. The challenge isn't to stop technology, but to guide it. And that means we need to start building a better digital future right now. Now, let's be super clear here. The goal is not to be anti-technology. That is a losing battle, and probably not a good idea anyway. The solution is to build a conceptual bridge, one that connects those timeless values from the past, dignity, freedom, justice, with the powerful new reality of our digital age. And this is a great illustration of what that bridge looks like. First, we need to establish digital dignity, the fundamental right to be treated as more than just a pile of data points. Second, we have to defend the right to unpredictability. That's the right to be human, to surprise the machine, to not be a perfectly predictable statistic. And finally, we have to embed algorithmic ethics. We have to actively build our morality and our sense of justice right into the code itself. So, I'll leave you with this final question to chew on. If a predictive policing algorithm says you are about to commit a crime, and you're stopped before you've actually done anything, is that justice being served? Or is that the ultimate violation of freedom? The way we decide to answer that question will define the next 100 years of law.